You are likely familiar with seasonal farming as a way to achieve the highest yields for your garden. However, have you ever tried applying lunar cycles to your cultivation? You might not realize it, but gravitational forces from the cosmos are directly governing plant sap every single day. And by ignoring this cycle, you are wasting up to 50% of your garden's potential. That is why I invite you to join me in unlocking this secret, leveraging the moon's gravity to double your crop productivity with costs that are virtually zero. Every week I share grounded insights on organic gardening and intentional living. Hit subscribe to ensure you're getting authentic, earth-first advice you can actually trust, straight to your feed. To understand why this method yields such exceptional results, we must delve deep into two key physical influences from the cosmos: gravitational pull and light intensity. First, regarding the aspect of hydrodynamics, much like how the moon creates tides in our vast oceans, its gravitational force also directly impacts the moisture within the topsoil and the movement of sap flow. During periods of strong gravitational pull, groundwater and moisture are drawn up toward the surface layers, creating optimal osmotic conditions to trigger rapid seed embryo germination. Conversely, as the pull diminishes, water tends to recede into deeper soil layers, prompting the root system to extend and penetrate further in search of life-sustaining sources, thereby establishing a robust structural foundation for the plant. In parallel, there is the fascinating element of photoperiodism. According to empirical observations, on moonlit nights, the intensity of light reflected from the moon, though much lower than that of the sun, is still sufficient to stimulate the sensitive photoreceptors of plant. This gentle flow of energy acts as a biological nudge, promoting cell division and increasing biomass even in the darkness. Mastering these physical parameters and biological rhythms does not merely help gardeners move beyond intuitive cultivation. It unlocks a farming mindset based on data and refined observation, allowing crops to flourish in harmony with the natural flow of the universe. The effectiveness of allocating farming activities based on energy and moisture fluctuations during specific phases of the 28-day lunar cycle is as follows. The new moon phase marks the darkest time of the month, when the moon is positioned between the Earth and the Sun, making it invisible, while often allowing stars to appear clearer and brighter. During this period, gravitational pull reaches its peak due to the alignment of the moon and the sun, pulling groundwater closer to the soil surface. This is the golden window for sowing seeds, particularly those with thin coats or leafy greens such as lettuce, mustard greens. The abundant moisture in the soil quickly activates seed embryos, ensuring a uniform and robust germination rate. Additionally, since the soil is at its softest and most humid state, tilling and preparing the nutrient base at this time is most efficient and requires the least physical effort, creating an aerated environment for future root development. The waxing moon phase begins a few days after the dark moon, identifiable by a thin crescent appearing in the west immediately after sunset, which grows plumper each day into a silver half moon. As the moon's illuminated surface increases, energy begins to shift from the ground up into the aerial parts of the plant. Sap moves vigorously into the stems and leaves, accelerating photosynthesis and superior vegetative growth. This is the time to focus on sowing fruiting plants such as tomatoes, beans, and peppers, as well as herbs. While plants grow rapidly and lushly, caution is needed as succulent young leaves are more likely to attract pests. Caring for the foliage and ensuring adequate light during this phase will help establish a sturdy plant structure before the fruiting period begins. The full moon phase is easily recognized when the moon appears as a perfect, brilliant circle, rising just as the sun sets, providing enough light to see everything in the garden clearly without a lamp. The full moon marks the point where the optical energy and vitality of the crops reach their maximum. At this time, the nutrient content and water retention in produce are at their highest, making it the perfect moment for harvesting if you want products with rich flavor and optimal commercial quality. A key technical point is that water tends to recede deeper into the ground following the full moon peak. Consequently, applying liquid fertilizers now is extremely effective. The downward movement of water guides nutrients to reach the root system quickly and thoroughly, helping the plant replenish its energy after a period of intense growth. The waning moon phase is characterized by the moon shrinking from the right side, rising later in the night, or appearing clearly only in the early morning as the light fades. As the moonlight dims and gravitational pull decreases, plants enter a state where they concentrate all their energy into the root systems and underground storage organs. This is the ideal stage for planting root crops such as potatoes, carrots, or onions and garlic, helping the bulbs grow firm and large. Notably, this is the safest time for pruning. Since the sap is receding downward, pruning will minimize bleeding, allowing wounds to dry quickly, preventing fungal infections and reducing plant stress. It is also an effective time for weeding, as the growth of the above-ground portion slows down. Of course, you may not always be able to see the moon due to changing weather or cloud cover, but physically, its energy cycle continues to operate steadily and directly impacts the life within your garden. To ensure they don't miss these golden moments, professional gardeners in the US and Canada often rely on the Farmer's Almanac, a classic publication with a history spanning over 200 years. You simply need to look up the Gardening by the Moon section to know exactly which days to sow seeds or harvest based on a combination of lunar phases and regional climate characteristics. This is considered the Bible that helps Western farmers master their crops without having to depend on observing the sky with the naked eye. For the global gardening community, accessing this knowledge has become easier than ever through reputable online platforms. Websites such as almanac.com or timeanddate.com provide detailed lunar calendars tailored to local time zones, allowing you to pinpoint new moon or full moon phases with just a few clicks. Additionally, mobile apps like Moon and Garden or Lunar Planting Guide serve as virtual assistants right in your garden. They not only forecast energy stages, but also offer specific advice for various plant groups, such as leafy greens, root vegetables, or fruit trees. Where are you located, and what is the current lunar phase in your area? Please leave a comment so I can advise you on the most accurate planting schedule for your garden. Applying natural cycle farming methods yields tangible results that you can directly verify through each harvest. First and foremost is the change in crop vitality. Seeds germinate uniformly, and root systems do not merely cling to the surface, but actively strike deep to seek groundwater, helping plants stand firm and remain lush even during severe drought. When harvest time arrives, you will perceive a distinct difference in produce quality. Fruits and vegetables are typically more succulent, with a much richer and more delicious flavor, thanks to the accumulation of nutrients at the golden moment of the sap flow. To optimize these benefits, you can apply supportive techniques carefully calculated based on the rhythms of nature. Smart pest management. Focus your insect control efforts around the full moon. This is when humidity rises and moonlight stimulates insects to be most active in their reproductive cycles. Using herbal remedies or releasing natural predators at this precise time will create breakthrough effectiveness, protecting your garden without needing a single drop of toxic chemical. Water optimization. A small but effective tip is to take advantage of early morning watering during the new moon phase to support the moon's gravitational pull, helping water penetrate deeply and retain moisture longer. Task planning. Treat the lunar calendar as a biological clock for your garden. Scheduling liquid fertilization after the full moon or pruning during the waning moon not only helps plants recover quickly, but also helps you manage the garden with discipline, avoiding the waste of fertilizer and effort when plants are in a resting state. Throughout my farming journey, I have conducted numerous experiments to verify the efficacy of this method. The results were truly astounding. Trays of chamomile sown exactly on the night of the full moon exhibited superior germination rates, producing seedlings that were robust and uniform. Conversely, I experienced firsthand the failures of deliberately sowing bell peppers during a waning moon, or parsley during a new moon. These green shoots suffered from stunted growth, appearing frail and lifeless despite an unchanged care regimen. However, I also acknowledge that modern science has yet to reach definitive or consistent conclusions on this matter. Measurements of brick sweetness levels in strawberries cultivated according to the lunar calendar show inconsistent results, suggesting the influence of various other factors such as soil quality, air humidity, and cultivation techniques. But does that truly matter? When we look at the bigger picture, gardening by the lunar cycle still offers immense value in terms of inspiration and discipline. Gardening by the lunar calendar is not a rigid formula, but rather a way for us to learn patience and align ourselves with the rhythm of the universe. Instead of trying to control nature, try for once to become its companion. Thank you for watching the entire video. If you found the information shared here helpful, please share it with your friends. See you in the next videos.